It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Travel to the other side of the globe, make new friends, learn about new cultures, and bring music to the audiences in China and Korea.
This is a dream come true.
I'll remember it forever.
Well, it's like definitely made me like a more worldly person.
It's just been such a surreal experience.
What teenager gets to do this? And we're so lucky to be participating in this trip.
ESYO in China! ESYO in Korea!
The plan to tour Asia began in 2010 when conductor Helen Chapio was invited to bring the youth orchestra to perform in Korea. Getting ready was much more than a full-time job. Just ask the dozens of people involved in planning and coordinating, waiting in line, the telephone calls, the emails, not to mention the rehearsals, packing, and repacking. When it came time to leave, despite the rain, a palpable excitement was in the air. We packed up the buses, said our goodbyes, and shoved off as step one to worlds unknown. At every airport, getting our equipment passport or carnet approved was a time-consuming hassle, not to mention checking in all the baggage, the instruments, and then clearing security.
You had oversized baggage, like you checked it in separately, like all the cellos, percussion, trombones. You haven't picked up your stuff, it's over there.
By the time everyone arrived in Beijing, mind you, hours later than planned, we were zonked. We awoke the next morning to the most athletically challenging excursion of the trip, the Great Wall. Along the way, it was also our first opportunity to see Beijing, and the country we'd call home for the coming days.
How are you? 你好. Okay, if you need your good friends, close friends, so you can add a little one more word in the end. 你好吗?
That's one of the tour guides, Anthony. Soon the skyscrapers were replaced with jagged green mountains shooting up to the sky. Everyone crowded the windows, hoping to catch their first glance at such an awesome structure. Few knew what true test of athletic prowess lie ahead.
My legs are shaking. I'm really tired, but it's awesome.
The motivation of like getting to the top and just going each step is just so great, and it adds to the awesome experience.
Foggy, hazy, a little hard to see the distances, and we're supposedly on the easy trail. This wasn't so easy.
I didn't think I was gonna black out as much.
That's true.
I'm really out of shape, but whatever. It's really fun. I was expecting it to be hard work.
It's really beautiful, and I think no matter how far you get, you still get the idea of how it is.
It's not what I expected. It's a lot steeper, and like the stairs are all like uneven heights.
They're different heights.
Some of them are like nice and like shallow stairs, and those are easy. And then you've got the really, really high stairs that you have to like lift your knee above where it's supposed to go.
Pretty exhilarating. The view's really great up there. Took a lot of great pictures. It's pretty tiring though. The stairs get pretty big. When I was walking up, I didn't think it was gonna be that hard because I was watching everybody like suffer, and I was like, yo, I'm good to go. Then once I'm like a quarter way there, I'm just like, wow, this is harder than I thought.
With renewed respect for the ancient Chinese people who built this massive structure, our next stop was a jade carving factory. Jade is a stone very precious to the Chinese people. Workers here spend their days taking blocks of jade and blasting it down to recognizable shapes, many simply breathtaking. It's our second day in China, and more amazing sights on the docket. But this time, we had to conserve energy for the concert tonight. Tiananmen Square is a massive stretch of pavement in the heart of Beijing. It's surrounded by powerful buildings and filled with lots of people. Our unspoken thoughts were about the atrocities that took place at this historic spot, but our tour guides candidly warned us they would not answer questions about the square's storied past. We paused for a photo in front of the Tiananmen, or Gate of Heavenly Peace, which showcases a portrait of Mao Zedong. We followed that with a walking tour through the Forbidden City. The area is a massive expanse of buildings dating back to the 1400s. The tremendous architecture and sheer number of elaborate carvings and paintings was mind-blowing.
I know that we're conserving our energy, and it is a professionalism that we're learning, what to do, have fun during the day, but when we become musicians on the stage, we have to turn our brains on and make music together.
After the tour, a rehearsal at the Beijing Concert Hall. the audience packed in for our first concert in Asia.
We are here because what better than young people who can see this entire globe as their stomping grounds. We are really of one race, human race, and we can share our culture without any boundaries. And even though there are boundaries politically, I think musically and in human experience, there shouldn't be. And music is a really wonderful conduit for that.
I think that it's a good way to spread our general influence. It's just, music is just such a great thing that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to hear live.
I think it's also about spreading the desire to want to play an instrument. Like, some people can't have the opportunity to play it, and if they hear us, they might get the desire to want to play it.
Concert 2 days ago was definitely something unlike anything I'd ever experienced before, partially because I was just so tired and I'd never been almost that out of it in the performance, but it felt different because my muscle memory just kicked in and I just played, and I didn't really know what I was playing, but I did, and we did fine. It sounded excellent.
First night we performed, tiredness was a big thing. Coming from New York to Beijing, it's a huge time zone difference, 12-hour difference. Our minds, we were thinking it was complete opposite of what it was where we were performing, so we just had to overcome that.
Playing America the Beautiful on Monday night was just really awesome because Helen announced it. She said, we're going to play America the Beautiful, and everybody went, aww.
America the Beautiful.
As I'm looking out in the audience, I'm thinking to myself, this is really happening. This is like a dream come true. We're superstars. We're on stage. It's so cool.
Fresh off the orchestra's first concert in Asia, it was a full day of touring, this time by rickshaw. Before the Cultural Revolution, a time of tremendous change for the people of China, this is what Beijing was like. It's now considered the old section of the city. 30 years ago, the streets were more narrow, the traffic jams commonplace.
Driving around the rickshaws, I mean, it was just stuff that you could never replicate anywhere else. It's like nothing I've ever seen, You're driving down the road, you see a Maserati, and then 5 feet, from that, you've got, the poorest of the poor and the, unfathomable poverty, and it's, it's definitely a wake-up call.
They're also really excited about seeing Americans, and it's kind of fun that they take pictures of us when we're taking pictures of ourselves.
Oh yeah,
they're like so excited to see Americans.
I had a hobo trying to get money from me today. It was funny because he knew we were Westerners. The only English he spoke was hello, I love you, and he'd like point to his hand. It was quite funny because he'd go around to everyone and point to his hand and say, I love you, I love you. So, but friendly, I guess.
We visited the home of a local family who, with the help of our tour guide, taught us about feng shui.
We believe whole nature consists of 5 basic elements. So they are metal, wood, fire, water, and earth in 2 sides, yin and yang, and it can be converted. So if you are very healthy, you're feeling very good, that means your body have a good balance of yin and yang. When you get sick, that means your body lost the yin and yang. So we have some herbals from nature help your body regain the balance.
Hundreds of years ago, China's rulers didn't only spend time in the city, they escaped, especially in the hottest months, to the Summer Palace. Escorted by a dragon boat ferry across the man-made Kunming Lake, we took in more amazing sights. We also had the chance to pursue some gift shops and enjoy Chinese ice cream. We said farewell to Beijing that afternoon, departed by bullet train. The orchestra and all our instruments took up 2 full train cars with barely enough room for everyone to fit. Though the sights went by quickly, it was easy to catch a glimpse of the sights passing by. Smaller cities, rural farm fields, and a very apparent different way of life than what we were shown in Beijing. We arrived later that night in Shanghai, swamped by a wall of humidity, quite different than what we found in Beijing. The hotel that night, a welcome relief after a long day of travel. While friends at home were barbecuing up a storm, members of the Empire State Youth Orchestra were exploring China's largest city, Shanghai. We began our day with a tour of Yu Garden, which was built in the 1500s, a labyrinth of rocks, plants, ponds, and beautiful buildings. The highlight were the koi fish, trained to come to the surface when visitors clapped their hands. The Shanghai Oriental Arts Center, or SHOAC, was the site of our concert tonight. To mark American Independence Day, we followed our rehearsal with a dinner American style. And what a way to celebrate July 4th, but with an amazing concert. What better way to take in Shanghai than from the top of one of its tallest buildings? From the top, a view of the Yangtze River and the sprawling city below. In the afternoon, we went to the Venice of the Orient and rode gondola boats around the waterways. Later in the evening, we were treated to a local acrobatic show. Some of the performers are as young as 13. At the end, performers had a special message for ESYO. An orchestra wouldn't be an orchestra without the instruments, right? So moving them from place to place on time and safely was key.
My cello is, first it's under a layer of brown paper, and that just wraps it in, and then I've got some foam at the end and then around the sides, and I fill in. It's got some on the neck, and then I've got to pack it in, and I lace them on top, and I support the bridge and the fingerboard, and then I close it and I lock it up, and then I walk out to the bus.
As a student, you have to account for so much. Like, if you forget your coat at the last hotel, it sucks. I almost lost my glasses off of my face. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, and that's another thing. Like, I went to go back to get my glasses, and I had to like try and explain to the lady like what they were, because she doesn't know what the word glasses means. So I had to be like, they go on my face, and I had lost them, or like I don't know where they were, but she eventually gave them back to me. So
pretty much the hardest thing for me is just remembering to bring everything that I have with me. I forgot pants the first concert, and you know you can't perform without pants. So you just adapt it as fast as you can, and you make sure and you bring extra supplies of everything. Like I have like 2 rosins, I have 4 sets of strings or something crazy number. And in case anything bad happens, you always have a backup.
Our next day began bright and early with another round of packing and unpacking, boarding the buses, waiting in line, and clearing security. Now in Korea, another round of waiting as our carnet document is approved. And another surprise, as an errant sword caused quite a stir with customs.
It doesn't have the insurance. Governmental property.
Our buses in Korea, which were quite decked out, brought us from the airport in Seoul to our next stop, the Angwang Hospital. The hospital was founded by American missionaries around 1900. It's also where we met up with our Korean host, and the man who sparked the whole tour, Dr. Jae-Hwan Kim, a leader in this community with infectious passion and a heart of gold. The morning was the first extended relaxation time that we've had. For many, it was also a chance to practice. This afternoon's rehearsal was in the newest hall of the tour, the ESYO Expo Concert Hall. The performance tonight of world-class caliber.
Particularly at the World Expo, which was, in my opinion, our best concert, there was a standing ovation, tons of clapping. I could tell that the crowd was very happy with how we performed.
But not all reactions were that obvious. Each city, each concert hall, each country brought a very different perspective.
Performing, it's very different. In America, you would typically see them sitting still and just smiling and listening, and in China, it's completely different. Everyone's taking pictures and laughing and moving around. There are kids conducting, and it's really fun. It's just very different. It's a cool experience.
The audiences are hard to read at first.
In China, I felt like they were just more like reserved and like you couldn't really tell if they liked it so much or not. But in Korea, like it was like they loved it, and it was just like meant so much to them, like that we're here and doing this for them.
The whole idea behind, being an audience member is totally different. I mean, they use their cell phones. They don't really, they talk during the performance, but then afterwards they just go crazy. We had played like 3 encores the last concert, so it's a little bit different, but it's cool. We still understand, feel the music just the way these guys feel the music, how we play it. So. It's pretty cool that we can actually talk to them through our music instead of just language.
It's a new audience every time, so you get to see how this audience is going to respond, and you learn over time which little technique and style things different people react to better. And it's really great to learn and grow as a musician that way on this trip, and I think that wouldn't have happened if we didn't get to go on this trip.
Today we explore the World Expo in ESYO, Korea. We began in the morning with 2 chamber performances outside of the expo. The expo was a mix of dozens of exhibits and shows from around the world. Some recognizable, others a bit more foreign. It was also the location of ESYO's first flash mob. Back to the Angwang Hospital grounds and a quick dress rehearsal as the sun beat down.
We still have to work out that little spot in the second movement. Something happened last night, right?
We wrapped up our day with a tremendous outdoor concert on the hospital grounds. The audience, and a large one at that, just loved it. Performing in the countryside, it was also apparent we were far from the big city.
We were just swarmed by bugs, and like there was beetles all over the floor, and like people were squishing them, and it looked disgusting, and bugs were like biting us and doing all this crazy stuff. So we had to, so instead of doing the entire Mendelssohn, we just cut down to the outer 2 movements.
Today was to be the most humbling of any on the trip so far. We began our day with a bus ride to Sorok Island, in the southern part of Korea. The island was formerly a secluded place for those suffering from Hansen's disease, formerly leprosy. Though the island is now connected to the mainland by a bridge, and Hansen's disease in South Korea now eradicated, the island still serves as home to those who live there, when times were very different and thousands died on the island.
And they persecuted the Han's nations to build that park. And they persecuted, they killed, even they tested, the human testing like that. So more than 2,000 people were killed through the testing. There is no human right. It's quite natural to us, right? But there was no human right, human dignity. There is no concern about human nature.
You don't read about that in history. You read about Auschwitz and all the German camps, but I mean, this had a lot of similar history to it. Maybe not on the same scale, but equally as terrible. So it was very, very surreal to see that, and you could really see that reflected in the islanders' faces, but also the joy that just having people who want to come there and want to play. And also, Dr. Kim he's a very charismatic gentleman, and it was really cool to hear all they have a chant now. They Sorak Do, Sorak Do. It's really cool to hear them all these, probably all over, at least 70, just shouting at the top of their lungs. Just they have this whole community spirit for the whole island. They've gone through all this together, and they've come out of it together.
It was crazy how they've been through so much and they can still appreciate small things like music. It takes a strong person to move past so much bad stuff.
It was just really wonderful to see their reaction and see how much they loved watching it and how much they screamed encore for so long.
I have it so much easier than any of the people on that island. I'm really thankful for what I have.
It was an experience that I've never thought I would have in my life. It was very amazing, actually, because the people, they appreciated it so much, and you could tell.
How?
The way they cheered was different than other audiences.
They didn't cheer as loudly, but you could tell it was more heartfelt than any other concert.
It kind of gives you a look into yourself and see what you have compared to other people and what kind of position you're in, and it gives you a little bit of empathy towards other people, and you see things that you didn't see before, and I think we're going to take that a long way in life.
Yesterday was the genesis of the entire tour on Sorok Island 2 years ago, and I had to really hold back my emotions in order for me to get through the concert. You were superb, all of you, and they were so appreciative. They were just overwhelmed by the sheer number of us showing up on that island. They have not had over 100 people, especially foreigners from America, come and bring this gift of music, and so they were extremely touched.
After such an emotional day, a leisurely morning in Seoul. We began by walking down an elaborate walkway in the middle of the city and continued near a number of city monuments. We then rehearsed for a concert in the Songnam Arts Center. We were one of several youth orchestras in town for a youth orchestra concert series. Several of our musicians had the chance to meet with members of a Korean youth orchestra.
안녕하세요. My name is Colleen. I'm 18 years old and I play timpani.
My name is Harrison. I'm 16 and I play bass.
In the evening, we played as a benefit for the Sorok Island Museum project. And after an amazing concert, the first of many, thank yous and goodbyes.
Helen, I like her, and don't misunderstand. Don't get me wrong. But really, we worked over 2 years right? And we shared a lot of visions and dreams, and this was the first time we worked very deeply together. And probably next time, I will treat her better, far better than that. So thank you, and have a safe trip.
Today is our last day in Korea and our final concert abroad. It's even more bittersweet as we get a taste of home at the Yongsan U.S. Army Base.
It's especially pleasing to me to see our wonderful young people and all that they've done to learn their instruments, learn their music, and well represent not only the great state of New York, but the entire United States of America here overseas, in Korea, and also in your tour throughout Asia. So let's give them one more round of applause.
Rock Island and tonight were just amazing, heartfelt concerts. Everything, it was wonderful, but Rock Island and tonight really meant a lot to me, and I know they meant a tremendous amount to Helen. So I'd like to say thank you to all of you. Have a wonderful rest of the summer.
Couldn't have done it without you, Beth!
It's been, I can't even describe how this trip was. It was like a long journey together from the preparation until today. And you guys just amazed me each day. You really did. Just how you behaved yourself and what a professionals, what professionals do, you were able to handle it and beyond. And so I'm so proud of you and so honored to be with you. And I thank you for everything from the bottom of my heart.
ESYO was awesome, and it gave us the chance to come and exchange music on a global scale.